Xenoblade X is a hilariously unbalanced game. Perhaps nothing is more indicative of that fact than the skill Core Crusher. Its existence alone makes almost every non-ether based damaging weapon unviable just because of how absurd it is. I got some comments on my video yesterday decrying Core Crusher for seemingly limiting build diversity since it forces you to run ether weapons for the most damage, and that gave me the idea for this video to 1. Address that I do hear you and that I do get it, and 2. To just talk about if that is really the case or not. In this video, I wanted to talk about the Core Crusher skill, why it ends up being pretty much required on every serious DPS setup, and why you should likely prioritize it when you raise your skills, show some examples of that, and ask the question, is there any hope for other damage types? As always, if you enjoy guide content like this on Xenoblade Chronicles X, please be sure to subscribe to the channel because it does help me out so much. I'm getting very close to 100,000 subscribers and would really love to hit that milestone soon, and every single little bit helps. Let's get started. At first glance, Core Crusher may not appear to be that much more special than some of the other skills you have. It just says it will increase ether attribute attack damage by 150% when you are targeting appendages, at the cost of no longer being able to directly deal appendage damage. This is certainly a big increase, but it doesn't seem like it would be that much better than something like background noise, which says it increases damage by 125% when you attack from behind with melee. However, there is a massive and significant difference between the two. Outside of Core Crusher and Aura Assault, every single damage boost you see on this skill tree is an additive damage multiplier. What this means is that every source of damage boost that says it increases damage by a certain percentage, it all gets added together to whatever your base damage value would be, before multiplying your damage dealt by that value. So instead of the 125% of background noise, multiplying with the 100% damage boost of Supreme Sword for over 4 times damage, it would actually add to 225% increased damage, or a little more than 3 times the damage. And most sources of damage increase add to this value, including the overdrive multiplier. Core Crusher is unique. For some reason, this one skill does not adhere to that rule. It is a completely independent damage multiplier. This means all ether-based damage deals 150% more damage than every other type of element, in a vacuum at least, or about 2.5 times the normal amount of damage. I don't know exactly how this skill was coded, but it also even raises the damage cap by this value, making it possible to hit 100 million damage with ether attacks, while only 40 million is possible with other damage attribute types. This type of multiplier in a game like Xenoblade X is absurdly powerful and absurdly broken. Aura Assault also has a multiplier, but it's only 30%, but it's still really strong regardless. Core Crusher truly does become an over-centralizing ability because of this. That said, does Core Crusher truly limit your build options? Most of the time, I'd actually say no, not really. What I think some people are failing to realize is that most of the strongest arts in the game for most weapons are still weapon attribute based and not locked to a specific element. So for many builds, not running an ether weapon and not running Core Crusher isn't going to limit your build variety, it's just going to make you kill things slower. There are some arts in the game that are locked to a specific attribute type, like Assault Rifle having a lot of thermal based arts yesterday, but since those arts are locked to a specific attribute no matter what, your weapon element wouldn't matter in that case, and it would be more about the strongest weapon traits that you can find if you wanted to take advantage of that. And I'll be showing that at the end as well. So will you be limiting your build variety by using Core Crusher? Sure, you might have to run an ether-based weapon, but most of your arts and other skills likely won't be changing too much. You can still run element attribute arts with Core Crusher equipped too if your raw stats are high enough to justify it. And if you can still make your builds without Core Crusher, you will likely just be killing things slower. I don't tell you guys to run Core Crusher in most videos to limit your options. I tell you because it really is just the better option even on other builds 95% of the time. So just how good is Core Crusher, and is there any hope for other element types without it? Let's take a look. I want to show you some examples here against Gravitas that might blow your mind a little bit. Alright, so I'm going to fight Gravitas with a physical sword here. I have a pretty powerful physical sword. It has melee attack boost as a trait on it, and I have replaced Core Crusher with Iron Knuckle to give myself more physical damage. In addition, the longsword has the ability to lower enemy physical resistance a little bit here. And I'm going to see how long this fight is going to take. So Magnum Edge will lower enemy physical resistance. I'm once again using a very good sword that has melee attack boost on it. It's a level 60 sword. It is pretty strong, right? So this is not a bad sword at all. I go ahead, activate my abilities, activate offensive stance, use Magnum Edge, and now I'm going to be targeting him. Now, this is not going to be the most perfect showcase here because, well, he does have some decent amount of physical resistance, and even lowering it with the physical resistance, I think it's going to only be about equal to his ether resistance, something similar to that. But regardless, the fact that I can run a physical set by lowering physical resistance, as that's one of the traits of the longsword here, you would think that maybe the longsword wants you to kind of lean into physical damage a little bit more. And that's what we're trying to do here. So it's not like I'm necessarily doing bad damage. The longsword's are a really good weapon class. I'm still able to do multiple millions of hits with Hercules' Blow. I'm still able to do some pretty decent damage here. And up until he gets his aura, which drastically reduces the damage he's taking, he still is taking a pretty decent amount of damage. Now, there might also be some player error here. I can't promise that I played this 100% perfectly, but I want you to just kind of keep track of the time. I'll tell you the time at the very end, but you can go and keep track of it yourself if you want to start from the very beginning of the fight. But I want you to keep track of the time that this fight takes total, basically. And I think this is just going to be something that you're going to see is going to be a major problem here. I am running the 5 Appendage Crushers. I'm running all the other good skills outside of Core Crusher here. And I'm boosting my physical damage with the physical damage up skill. So I've got everything that I can to boost my physical damage as much as I can here. And once again, I am lowering the physical resistance of Gradivis with Magnum Edge, so I do more physical damage as well. And once again, now that he has his aura, I am doing a little bit less damage. I'm trying to make sure I keep Ghostwalker active for these multi-hit attacks to make sure I don't accidentally die. I do take a lot of damage there, but I don't end up dying, and that's the most important thing. So we're pretty fine at this point. And at this point, I'm kind of just continuing to pile on the damage and waiting for his aura to go away. Or waiting for it to reach the health range where he gets rid of his aura. But you'll notice that this fight, while yes, you can kill him with physical damage and be just fine, it's still not as fast as it could be compared to an Ether Sword here. But and now his aura is gone. I just did 12 million damage to him, and now things are going to go a bit smoother here. And I can finish the fight now. The fight takes about 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and that is accounting for his aura ticking the entire duration where I had to do less damage for a little bit there. Now, I want to show you something very interesting here. I'm going to buy this level 10 Titanium Spatha, the weakest sword you can buy at the shop. The weakest Ether Sword you can buy at the shop, I should say. We're gonna buy this, all right? We're going to buy this weak Ether Sword here, and I'm going to outfit myself the exact same, except I'm going to make one singular change. I'm going to have all the same things, except this one sword is going to be different, and then I'm going to change the skill, the physical damage skill, for Core Crusher. And that is the only change I'm going to make. And since I'm using an Ether Sword, the physical damage down does not actually do anything for me here at all. And I'm going to show you just what happens, what the difference is here. So, with Magnum Edge applied, I was doing about 8 to 9 million damage with my Hercules Blow. I think I did over 10 million near the end of the fight there, right? Once the aura wore off. So, if I'm using the weakest possible physical sword, or ether-based sword here from the shop, nothing special about it, no special traits, nothing really good about it, no melee attack boost like the physical sword has, but I only change Core Crusher. That is the only thing I change. You're going to notice here, look at the damage of this Hercules Blow. Look at the damage of this first Hercules Blow here. 15 million. 15 million. With a significantly weaker sword. That is the power of Core Crusher. He's already activated his aura he had before. He already activated his aura. And even when the aura is active, I still do about 7 million with it, right? So that's nice. This is the power of Core Crusher. And like I said, the build doesn't actually change at all here. I'm still running the exact same arts here. It just doesn't matter. Ether is that strong in this game because of Core Crusher. It's not like you have to change your build to account for Ether. It's not like it really limits a build variety that much. It's just that you do less damage if you don't run Ether. Like, if I change my arts around, it's not going to help me have more build variety or change the amount of damage I'm doing with the longsword or anything like that. I'm just going to be doing less damage. Because all of the longsword's best arts are still attribute-based damage. That just take the damage of your weapon type. So, I think I kill him before his aura even wears off, so I don't get the benefit of doing extra damage near the end of the fight like I was doing with the physical longsword either. But regardless here, you're going to see this fight ends about 90 seconds. So this fight was about 66% faster, with a significantly weaker sword, without being able to break through the rest of his aura. That is, once again, the power of Core Crusher. The Core Crusher damage multiplier is absolutely massive. It allows you to do some absolutely crazy things. This is the reason, 99% of the time, for DPS setups, you are going to want to run that Core Crusher. And the reason that the Ether weapons and the Ether-based attacks are just that much more powerful. Now, is there any hope? Is there any hope for other types of damage in this game? Well, actually, yes there is. I went back yesterday after seeing the reception of some of the assault rifle stuff yesterday, and I wanted to see, well, does thermal damage actually end up being viable in this case? And actually, it does. And the reason for this is twofold. One, Gradivis actually has very low thermal resistance, -25, which is much lower than any of his other resistances, which is really nice. And there's also the fact that the assault rifle is just really one of those weapon types that does not have a really good attribute-based damaging attack. All of its best damaging arts actually are thermal-based, based on damage ratio and everything like that. So I went back to this and I was like, alright, well I want to show this off, I guess. And the reason I didn't yesterday, the reason I was more focused on the supporting topple-locking build is because, well, that's usually the way you want to play Assault Rifle. The Overdrive Gain TP build, where you're just mainly focused on topple-locking than anything else. I just wanted to show off the damage showcase, just kind of showcase, hey, you can kill with this. And I was worried that if I showcased the damage capabilities of the thermal build, then I wouldn't be able to show off topple-locking as efficiently, since the best topple-locking build is that build where you have Overdrive Gain TP and Grand Procession, and you're constantly feeding TP to your party members and everything like that, right? And I'd like to apologize for this, because by focusing on two things at once like that, I kind of just made a build that was not really conducive to showcasing the real damage capabilities of the Assault Rifle. So here it is. I'm going to be showcasing that now to showcase that, yes, you can do a thermal build in this game with the Assault Rifle. And there are some weapon types that do have very specific attribute-based arts that maybe you can lean into those a bit more to get more benefit out of them than you might with a Core Crusher build. Not to say that Core Crusher won't be the best on most of the weapons, but in very specific cases, you can get more benefit out of something like this. Now, since I wasn't running Overdrive Gain TP, I did build my count with Furious Blast instead, just kind of focusing on Smooth Recovery into Furious Blast, but I'm still able to use the topple-locking strategies here, the Assault Hammer and Assault Breaker here with my Resistance Reducer, and then kind of using Smooth Recovery before Quick Cannon, since it gets boosted from melee combos, into Burst Grenade to get as much damage as I can. And Quick Cannon, with the scaling it has, does do quite a bit of damage, over 3 million per hit, so that is actually pretty good. It is out-damaging Furious Blast from yesterday, at least when I have the Aura active, it's doing about 3 million. So that does out-damage Furious Blast from yesterday, which is very nice and very cool to see. Now, I think my Aura fell off, so I'm only doing about 2 million now, and I recognize that and make sure to reactivate my Aura, and I should be doing over 3 million with Quick Cannon again. And with Burst Grenade, I think I'm doing over 1 million pretty consistently as well, which is definitely pretty nice. Definitely out-damaging the Furious Blast build from yesterday. So once again, that is on me. I should have been more conducive to kind of showcasing better damage capabilities and a better build yesterday for this, if you wanted to see more damage out of the Assault Rifle rather than a pure support build. And if I wanted to show off the support build, what I should have done is just have AI party members kill the Gradivis while I focused on topple locking more, to showcase that I can just feed them TP so they can, even the weakest AI can still kill Gradivis, even if the AI is bad, just because you can get them to max overdrive by yourself very, very easily by topple locking and making sure they always have enough TP, right? So I should have done that instead if I wanted to show off more supported capabilities of the Assault Rifle. So my apologies for that, but once again, here you can still focus on that topple locking setup here while still getting some damage out of this weapon. Now, once again, this is still not going to be the highest damage weapon by any means. This kill still took well over 4 minutes, but it does kind of beat the 10-minute fight from yesterday, right? So, you know what? You guys are right. The Assault Rifle does have better damage with thermal. This is one of the only cases that's probably ever going to be true because of very specific circumstances, but it is the case here, and it is something that, you know, is pretty cool to show off, at least. So there is hope for non-ether damage-based builds. You just have to have very specific circumstances where you have arts that are able to kind of bypass that by having really high damage scaling, and even if they're different attributes, right? So yeah, this strategy here just kind of alternates. I use Decoy Round to restore my TP since I don't have Overdrive Gain TP. I use that pretty often in these combos. Make sure I apply Assault Hammer and Assault Breaker. Always use Smooth Recovery to get the melee combo bonus for Quick Cannon and Burst Grenade. Make sure to reactivate my Aura when I can, but otherwise it's about the same rotation. After Quick Cannon, I go back to Decoy Round and kind of repeat the process. When I have enough TP, I reactivated Overdrive for the duration. Make sure to use Decoy Round whenever I don't have like enough TP to make sure I can keep activating Burst Grenade as well. And overall, this actually is a pretty cool build. I like the fast animations of the Quick Cannon and Burst Grenade here. That just kind of makes this pretty fun to play. So, you don't always need Core Crusher. Now, for most builds where it is attribute-based damage, you are still going to want Core Crusher, but in this case, since you do have some damage types that are locked to thermal, you can get some benefit out of focusing more on thermal damage instead. So, you know, I am glad that there is that kind of build variety and build options in this game. So once again, my apologies for yesterday. I hope this makes it up to you. Now, while you can run other builds and while you can do other weapon types, Core Crusher is still absolutely the most broken skill in the entire game, and for all of the really strong damage-based weapons, which Assault Rifle is unfortunately not, Core Crusher is likely going to be the way to go, and ether-based weapons are likely still going to be the way to go for most of them, and for many weapons, it's not going to actually affect or change your build variety that much, unfortunately. So, with that said, Core Crusher is still very broken. It is definitely a skill you should definitely be very much focused on. because there is a very high chance that for 90% of build options, it is going to be the best option you have available to you, unless you're running a very specific support set or you're running this assault rifle for damage, right? So with that said, I think that is probably going to cover it for the video today. Not a very long or super complicated video. I just wanted to kind of go through Core Crusher and explain it in more detail. I hope you guys learned something from watching this, and if you did, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Please look forward to my future weapon guides, my other guides and videos for the series. I am going to make that weapon tier list pretty soon here. I'll probably make a video on party members, so please look forward to all of that. So once again, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a wonderful and blessed day, and hopefully I will see you back here soon.